Well, as we approach the end of this season, it's never too early to look ahead to next season. Mark Donaldson alongside Alejandro Moreno. Ali, we're going to talk Barcelona and how you see them lining up next season. It wasn't a good year for them, unsuccessful in La Liga. So let's take a look at the starting 11 that you think may occur at the start of the new season. Obviously, the first thing to notice, you've got a couple of new faces in there, Aguero and Georginio Wijnaldum.
Assuming that those transactions go through for Barcelona and assuming that indeed Aguero and Wijnaldum join, then the strong assumption would be that they would join to be part of the starting lineup. And if there was ever a big, huge hole that they needed to fill, is in that center striker position. They didn't have any last year. They just simply didn't. Last season, it was in rotation, and it was Dembele, and it was Griezmann, and sometimes Messi, and Martin Braithwaite, and none of them really fulfilled that role properly. And while Luis Suarez was scoring goals for Atletico Madrid, well, Barcelona was struggling. And so when you think of Sergio Aguero, how much is he really going to give you long term? I'm not so sure, but if you're bringing him in, it's because he's going to fill that role. Now, the big decision for me wouldn't be whether Aguero is going to play or not. I think he would. Is what do you do with Georginio Wijnaldum? Because if you're going to slot him into the midfield, somebody is going to be the odd man out. And it's not going to be Frankie de Jong. It's not going to be Pedri because of the outstanding season that he had individually and whatever the potential may be for him. The ceiling seems to be very high for Pedri. So you look around and then you have to make a big decision. And that is Sergio Busquets. He's not starting anymore. And that is, in some ways, the end of an era for Barcelona because of what Sergio Busquets has been to this team. Also to highlight in that potential starting 11 is the presence of Lionel Messi. Yes, the assumption is that he will be back. And if he's back, then of course he's going to play a free role in the attacking half. As for the defensive half, another big decision for me was, what do you do with Gerard Pique? Had an up and down season with injuries and what have you, inconsistency in his performances whenever he did get an opportunity to play. I'm going to go back to the sort of that viral shot of him when he's trying to chase down Kylian Mbappe and he's just kind of barely hanging on to the back of his jersey. That's sort of the season that Pique had, just kind of trying to play catch up over the course of the year, never really caught up. But he maintains a place, although Ronald Araujo would be pushing. But I think Pique, I'm just saying that perhaps he hangs on for yet another season. As to what his role is going to be from after a year, I'm not quite sure. But he continues to play for Barcelona. It's a starting 11 that has a lot of good pieces. I'm just not sure that you can find the teamwork that is necessary for this group to really threaten at the elite level.
Who do you think will pick the first starting 11 of the new season? Who do you think will be in charge at Barcelona?
Well, isn't that a tricky question? Ronald Koeman seemed to believe with about 3 weeks to go in the season that it was going to be him. And then those 3 weeks happened and you saw Barcelona just collapsing in front of everybody, collapsing. When they had an opportunity to win the title, instead of taking a step forward, they took 3 steps back. And so that doesn't suit Ronald Koeman all that well. And then you saw John Laporta come out and saying, well, this is the end of this era. It is time for renewal. It is time for a new direction. Well, you don't have to read between the lines to say, if indeed it's time for a new direction, then it's time for a new coach. And so the names that keep coming up is, of course, Xavi. There is Garcia Pimienta, a youth coach in Barcelona. Is another name that's being thrown around. I suppose that if you're going to transition somewhere, the natural transition would be to Xavi, but he would be running into a team that is far different than the one he left, and an organization and a club that is far different than the one he left. And it's a club that needs an overhaul, if you will, that needs some more pieces, that needs this youth movement to really come through. But you don't quite have the finances to do it. And so it's going to be tricky. Does Xavi have that sort of experience? Well, probably not, but he does have the equity within the club and within the organization. So I assume that he would be given the benefit of that. If I am to bet, I'm guessing, and this is merely a guess, this is just speculation, I'm guessing Xavi would be the choice.
You mentioned the word overhaul, Ali. How much dead wood at that football club, in your opinion, needs to be cleaned out?
Oh man, well, we only know the numbers that are sort of published and kind of talked about and mentioned, and it's all sort of rumors and speculation again. But when you hear that John Laporta has gone around and shopped for a 500 million euro loan, my first question is, who's loaning this club any money right now, and why would you do that? Because they have not proven that indeed they do a very good job of making decisions with that money when it's available to them. And the other thing that I would say, if indeed they're getting this money on a loan, is not to go and get players. I think this loan is more to sort of kind of clean up their current debt and start afresh. I don't believe this club financially is in a place in which they can go and get the best players in the world. And hence, that's why you get Sergio Aguero on a free transfer. Hence, why you're searching for Georginio Wijnaldum on a free transfer. These are the players that Barcelona is going after, and this is the market that they're in. Not because it's a choice, it's because it's a must for them. It's what they've been forced to do, given the pandemic, given COVID, but also, more importantly, given their own decisions in the past.
Let's end this conversation, Ali, with the team that you had right at the beginning, which had Lionel Messi in it for next season. Therefore, according to you, and it seems likely he would sign a new deal. Does he end his career with Barcelona, or is there still that one little hope for Major League Soccer clubs that they may, for the final year of Lionel Messi's footballing career, have a chance of signing him?
There may be an outside chance at the end of his career that he would do that, but I think if indeed Lionel Messi makes this commitment to Barcelona for the foreseeable future, it's because he intends to finish his career there. And I think there are enough pieces around him in terms of youth and talent for him to be excited about. So Pedri is a piece that you can get excited about. Ansu Fati coming back from injury is also a piece that you can get excited about. There are certain things about Barcelona that I think would intrigue Lionel Messi. Overall, the package is not quite there, but pieces around him, guys that he would be playing alongside with, and guys that may get him excited to play with, that I think in the end, it's what tips the scales a little bit for Lionel Messi. I think he needed to see this year that there were signs that this club was moving forward and that the talent personnel around him was moving forward. And I think Barcelona did just enough, not an overwhelming job, but just enough to intrigue Lionel Messi into staying with Barcelona, again, for the foreseeable future.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.